मानुषी संवाद में आप सबका स्वागत है. Welcome to this edition of Manushi Samvad, and today we have with us a very, very special guest, namely Nambi Narayanan ji. Normally we would have done this online, पर हमारी खुशकिस्मती है कि आज नाम्बी नारायणन जी दिल्ली में ही थे, तो इसलिए हमारे घर आ गए ताकि हम इसको लाइव फेस टू फेस कर सकें. So really glad to have you here with us. You came to this house when you were going through a bad time.
Yeah.
But now you're another person.
Yeah.
You're another person. And so I'm really happy that finally the wheels of justice have started turning.
Yeah.
Not full justice done,
Yeah, sure.
but the process started good and proper.
Yeah.
Okay. What I want to ask you is the following. How true is the film to your actual life incidents? Is it accurate, or is it a dramatized version, or is it a watered down version? Was reality much more dramatic than what's shown, or has the film made it more dramatic?
Actually, the film is not dramatized. I should say more than 97%, it is true to the core. We have not exaggerated, we have not dramatized, or we have not sensationalized it, etc. Excepting one or two areas where, for the sake of story, for example, there is an only character. Now, this only character is alive, and he came to France, and his child, which is 1 year old, died, and within 3 days after his landing. So I was not suppressing it, but I checked up with his father and his wife. Both agreed that there is no need to tell him now, because by himself coming over to India doesn't make any difference.
Little louder.
So in that sense, we have, up to that point, it is true. Then we made him as a person who was upset, and then he became angry, etc. That is not true. Actually, he was accepting the whole thing. He felt that it is necessary, and there is no other way to do it. That is the way he looked at it. So when I asked him, this is the way we are going to show the film, he said, no, I never dare to abuse you or something like that. How can the people who knows the story will think that, something. I said, no, this story is going to be linked to this. So that particular area, we made some dramatization. Other than that, there is no other dramatization to my knowledge. I think otherwise it is very normal. For example, the drama in the house, the society, for example, there is an auto rickshaw scene. And
that actually happened?
Yes, it has happened.
Just once or many such scenes? When you were thrown out of the auto, did it happen just once?
It is not, it is true, it has happened. It was a heavy rain. It so happened it was a rain. And they asked me very, not politely, but rudely, they asked to get out of my auto. We don't want to carry traitors like that. And the only thing Madhavan dramatized is there is a flag, which is, when he takes a camera, he is showing a flag which also drips with rainwater. That is his imagination as a storyteller. But otherwise, this has happened. The marriage house scenes were actual. In a marriage house only, we got this telegram saying that the case got, etc. So nowhere we have dramatized it, actually.
So there is no poetic imagination at play. By and large, all the incidents are true to life.
Yes, more than 97%.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah. I'll tell you why this was a very interesting question you are asking. I'll tell you. We discussed it. For example, the torture scenes and all, we showed it a little less than what really had happened. Not exaggerated.
Much less, because what you described to me when I came to your house and we did that interview, the description of that torture was far worse than what is shown on the screen. Why did you underplay it?
Because by my worry was my children also are going to see the movie. So how do I make them to console them? Or they can't stand. Even today, for example, my son has not seen the movie.
Yeah?
Yeah, my wife has not seen the movie. Now they say we don't want to relive that once again. These are the two people from my family. They have not seen the movie. So why we underplayed was because of that fear, that worry. But uh, otherwise it is by and large it is true.
Viewers, those of you who have not yet seen Rocketry, which is based on true life of Nambi Narayanan, I urge you to please not only see it yourself, but take as many friends and relatives of yours as you can and take them to the cinema hall, because such a film has never been made in India before. We have such filmy melodramas, whether with regard to historical figures or even contemporary politics. We've never yet had a film that is true to life and on such an unusual subject. So I urge you all to see it. And those of you who haven't yet seen it, it's about Nambi Narayanan's life at ISRO. He was a top notch scientist there, involved in cutting edge space research. And he's going to talk about it a little bit and how, at the behest of CIA and other hostile forces, certain people within our own political establishment, as well as within the Indian police service, uh, sabotaged and accused Nami Narayananji and a couple of others of spying of all the countries for Pakistan, right? That you sold
Yeah, yeah.
secrets to Pakistan through Maldivian women who are not even educated enough to know the spelling of space research.
Yeah,
Am
but
I right?
yeah, true. But just wanted to complete the previous sentence.
Yeah.
See, we discussed it. So whether to show more or etc. Then we both came to an unanimous conclusion, myself and Madhavan, that let us show exactly what had happened. Then his argument was, if we show exactly what had happened, it will go and touch the minds of the people. Namely, that if you exaggerate it, then what happens is they tend to not to believe the whole film. They will start suspecting.
Mm.
So in fact, in this movie, there is no stunt, there is no fight, there is no song, there is no love song, there is no so many things are missing. Normally, what is part of the Tamil Hindi films is missing. So we showed as far as possible to the true scenes which has happened. The outcome is what you are seeing, and as we expected, in the second half, many people were not able to escape from tears were coming.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So
This when it is underplayed.
yeah.
If they'd seen the full range of torture. In fact, when Madhavan was on my show, I asked him point blank, why is it that he underplayed that last part, which is the torture and how you survived that torture, what it took for you to battle it out, uh, or naming people.
No, but my survival itself is a miracle.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel it is due to divine intervention only, because I fell down. And then I remember very vaguely that a doctor comes and then treats me, etc. And the doctor is telling that this man is walking on a knife edge, he may fall this side or that side, etc. So that itself shows that, but it was a divine intervention only. Otherwise, I would have gone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's much harder to believe in retrospect that you actually went through it all and stood firm for so many years. And you kept fighting all alone,
Yeah.
even at a time when nobody was standing up for you.
Yes, yes,
Now,
yes.
when I asked Madhavan, why did he underplay that part?
What
And
is
I
it? What is
asked,
it?
yeah, I'll tell you. I
Yeah.
asked him before I'd seen the film.
Mhm.
So I'd expected that a lot of it will be about that torture in the way that my interview with you in 2013
Yeah.
was a lot of it was about what they did to you. And he said, but then the impact of who Nambi Narayanan was would be lost
Yeah.
because he had to show you for the very unusual, bizarre, determination you had to make this achievement happen for ISRO against the heaviest of odds. So he said he himself couldn't believe your story, that you did all that. I too, when I saw the film, Nambi, it struck me that when I met you first time in your house, 2013,
Yeah.
depression hung over the air so much that you could cut it with a knife. It was a very difficult day for me to sit through that very depressed atmosphere in which you were trapped at that time. But you, of course, there were no histrionics. You kept your cool. You described your entire story without shedding tears. You were very disciplined in the way you described everything. But then the story was so disturbing. I couldn't sleep for weeks thinking of what happened and how it happened and how they got away with it. Now, from there to watching that film where you're shown doing all kinds of stunts, superhero stunts. I mean, all that actually happened.
Which
Like not stunts. For example, the way you brought the engines from Russia.
yeah,
Oh my God!
yeah. Actually, that's one more thing. It is true that it is absolutely legal. We discussed between myself and Russians. On one hand, the Americans were pressurizing them, saying that the contract should be redrafted. I mean, so contract should be scrapped actually. So I asked these Russians who were friends. They said we have no choice. I said why the Americans are opposing. Then the reply came from the Russians saying that they don't want the technology to be transferred. All right, don't transfer the technology, but let us redraft it. You give me only the hardware. There is no technology transfer. I said, you check with the Americans whether it is okay. So they checked with the Americans, and then Americans said, okay, what is there? After all, there's only hardware which is being given. My idea was, it is okay because I don't want the contract to be scrapped because I stand to lose heavily. It is not financially because they may pay the compensation because they will get the compensation from the Americans. But my idea was whether anything will make the contract to survive. So I made use of that opportunity. Then I said, all right, you redraft the contract, but take some time, you take 1 or 2 months. In the meanwhile, the present contract is valid because it is not scrapped. So I said, as per the contract, I am. It is there is a provision by which I can advance the payment. They can advance the supply. So they advance the supply. So I am advancing the payment. It's absolutely legal. But then they found out that there is a problem because the Americans will find out this. Then there will be problems because of the Americans. Because at that time, the Russia was getting shattered into pieces. So they said that we will give you the material at our doorstep. It is your responsibility to take it and then ship it to your country. When I approached the Air India doesn't want to carry this material without the customs clearance. I said, I am giving an undertaking that this is legal, etc., etc. But they said, then it is okay, but you get the clearance from the topmost man in the country so that their worry was if the Americans come to know about it, they will not be allowed to land in New York or land in Washington, etc., which is the typical style of Americans because that happened to Concorde aircraft later. So they were thinking, but I was fighting against time. So my worry was I can't afford to lose the time. So what I said was, all right, you don't worry, I don't worry about you. So I went to the another aviation, Viral Aviation. They were willing to do it for the same rate. I said, go ahead, we will ship the material. Only thing I ensured that it is coming directly to Trivandrum. In the sense, it doesn't come to Delhi and then Delhi to Bombay, etc. And I also got a clearance from Delhi stating that this will not be opened to see what it contains. We didn't have any illegal material. But we don't want the people to know that it is a rocket materials and etc. But then the customs fellows in Trivandrum got wild. They asked, what is it inside? I said, the order says you are not supposed to know. No, 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 you fellows are smuggling vodka and caviar.
Vodka and caviar in. Oh my
So,
God.
but anyway, it went through. But having got the entire material under my control, I was a little taking it easy because now this is a matter of putting them together. We will take care of that. But what happened was we were very much occupied in doing the first launch of the PSLV. So we wanted to give less importance to it for the time being. But by the time when we were about to do something, this whole spy case occurred, and then I was kept away from the whole scene. So that is how it went through. But Americans must have got mad. But honestly, madam, I'm not getting disturbed by the Americans' attitude because, after all, what is they did? They were doing something for their country. They made sure that there is no competitor coming in the picture. What is the big deal? They didn't do it in a hidden manner. They openly asked the Russians to scrap the contract. They also issued sanctions against the Russians as well as the Indians, and they were not hiding anything. There was no shame in it. Of course, they told a lie saying that the cryogenic is used for missile. There is no missile using cryogenic technology in the world even today. But what bothers me is somebody else were playing from our side to help the entire thing is what bothered me. See, I don't care about the Americans doing it for their country. That's a big deal.
Now, another thing, another part where the film is very muted about the real events is not naming the villains. Now, you remember, I came to you because a commissioner police in Gujarat happened to meet me per chance. I was at that time writing about all these Gujarat riots culprits. And he told me, if you're really interested to know one of the big culprits, go meet Nambi Narayanan and get the story of what R.B. Sri Kumar did to him and to ISRO. Now, he was one of the main culprits, one of the two, three
No, he
leading.
was actually the deputy director of IB.
Yeah.
See, the problem here, what we have today, you asked me first question, why I didn't name anybody in the film. We don't.
Not the villains. You didn't name any of the villains.
Yeah, any of the villains. None of the villains were mentioned. Why? Because we wanted to show in the film two important matters. One is all what I have achieved for the country. This was shown in the first half. And all the sufferings I have gone through because of that, this was shown in the second half. Now, we didn't want to take any chance just by naming somebody. Then that somebody is going and getting a stay for the film. And then in the process, it gets dragged because that is typical of our system. So we will fail in our goal, what we have set to ourselves as a goal. But then it doesn't mean that we were trying to escape from mentioning something. Certainly, there will be a day, sooner or later. Also, there is going to be, today, for example, there is a Jains committee has charge sheeted 18 people. The Jain committee, which was constituted by the Supreme Court. I don't know whether you.
Yes, of course.
For 18 people. Now, the CBI is proceeding against them. Now, there is going to be a trial. Now, I don't want to name anybody by speculation, saying that this guy is the culprit, that guy is the culprit. Why should I say there is a trial? James Commission has identified these 18 people. Now, when they are in the trial, they may name somebody else more, or the culprit may be one among the 18, or two among the 18, we don't know, or all of them, etc. So that is the reason why we didn't name anybody as the villain in the movie.
Including those who personally supervised your torture.
No.
And you knew they were supervised.
No, let me tell you. What all we know for the truth is, there was an IB, there was a Kerala police. Kerala police chief man was Mr. C.B. Matthew. And here the deputy director and the other joint director, both were, one is R.B. Srikumar, another one is Matthew John.
R.B. Srikumar and Matthew John.
Matthew John.
So there's C.B. Matthew and
It's a Kerala police fellow.
And Matthew John.
Now, these are the supervisory people. That is one part of it. Next part is the people who are torturing us. Now, the connection is that these people who were torturing us were working under the other people. Now, you are concluding that these people are torturing on the supervision of the other people. How can you conclude that? These people might have done on their own.
No, but the registration of the case itself.
Registration of the case is by some circle inspector. C.B. Madhu never came in the picture. See, the whole system, the beauty of the system is that if the man on the top wants, he can always say, I am not aware of this at all. That is what they are keeping on telling. But at the same time, they may be very much aware of it, because without their knowledge, nobody will dare to do such things. But in the trial, when it is going to be coming for cross-examination, etc., nobody can hide anything. It all will come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but that's playing very cautious and for the good reasons.
Yes.
Very good reasons, because otherwise the film could have been obstructed from getting released.
And also, by ourselves showing, at least for the police side, anybody can guess who is the policeman.
Yeah.
I don't have to say specifically. People who are aware of the story, they know who is this policeman. But your question is valid. But we hope, I'm not sure about it, but I hope that there could be a sequel to this movie, which will bring out not only the villain's name, the entire story, including what happened in the political side, what happened in the media side, what happened even in the judiciary side. In so many details are missing from the film. We have not touched anything. But everything is documented by the CBI's own closure report. They are telling in detail so many things in their closure report. And their confidential report further states these are all the people who are having the lapses of on their side. So my point is that this is already there. The only thing is we didn't touch it because we want the finality to reach. Finality will soon come, I will tell you.
That's really rare in India. I think this is one of the rarest of the rare cases when a person got justice. For example, Samba spy scandal, the 54 or 58 odd people, army officers, who were implicated in similarly false cases, tortured similarly. Many have died and not yet received justice. Even the Supreme Court refuses to entertain them. And that you did it, I think, speaks volumes, not so much for the Indian judiciary, but for your grit, determination, and some divine power that protected you. Now, let's come to some earlier parts. In the early part of the film, while you're doing these experiments at ISRO, it's a very underdeveloped lab. Looks like a college, high school lab. Was it actually of that order?
Actually, when we started the activity, we had only 3 buildings totally. One is the church building, Magdalene Church. Another one is a bishop house, which was just adjacent to the church. Third one is a school building. A school building is only one hall. Now, these are all the 3 buildings available in that area. There was no other building. All the 3 are old buildings. So the church is the biggest building out of the 3. So we had put some partitions inside, and we didn't even have, because the church was so high, we couldn't put the ceiling, and the doves and all will be flying over and then creating a lot of problems in the.
You mean you had pigeons flying?
Pigeons flying, yes.
Okay.
We were taking nose cones through bicycle.
You were taking what?
The nose cone of a rocket. We were taking it by a bicycle as a load. And I remember that I was carrying what is called a dart payload, which will look like a missile kind of a thing, by a corporation, the Kerala State Transport Corporation bus, one among passengers. Everybody was looking at me, what I am carrying. So these are the old days. We have lived like that. We were sleeping on the tables. Because we come there in the morning, we don't know when we will go back. myself, Kalam, and some people, we were together. We were sleeping on the floor, on the T9 table, sometimes on the beach. So because it is true. In fact, we found a church building to predict exactly what had happened during that time frame. So
Now, coming to Dr. Kalam's role, in the film, he appears totally clueless about what's happening. And
it was not shown by Kalam. Was about Kalam is shown only when we were not talking about this case. Kalam is shown only when the gunpowder.
explosions
Yeah,
take
yeah,
place.
yeah.
And he seemed clueless as to what's happening, and he's not happy with what you are pointing to by
Yeah,
way
that-
of their. I mean,
yeah.
am I right?
You are right, but let me tell you the story because we couldn't show the entire thing in the. There was a time restriction. We wanted to reduce the film timing to 2.5 hours. Actually, everybody preferred 2 hours, 15 minutes or 10 minutes, but we restricted this to 2 hours, 33 minutes. Now, what happened in the story? Not a very difficult thing. Everywhere we have to use the scissors to cut it. We were supposed to burn sodium payload in an upper
Sodium what?
sodium payload.
Okay.
The sodium has to burn at that 135 kilometers altitude. So there must be an igniter for that. The Centaur rocket will carry the sodium, and at that altitude you have to ignite the sodium. And the launching is supposed to be at 6 o'clock in the evening, and night 10 o'clock, early morning 2 o'clock, and then early morning 6 o'clock. Four launchings. Four rockets will be launched. These are to be photographed from four corners of the world. One in Japan and another one is Australia, like that. It's all pre-arranged. Everything. It's a US-Indian collaboration program. Now I developed the igniter for this. Igniter was working very well. So we closed it. We said, all right, let it go. But I was going through some, not actually, it was an accidental thing. I was reading some book. In that I found it stated gunpowder will fail to ignite at quarter of an atmospheric pressure. If the external pressure comes down to one fourth, gunpowder will not ignite. It will be behaving like a sand. It was a shock to me because at that altitude we are having less than one fourth of an atmospheric pressure. Then what I did was I went and told this to Kalam. I remember the name of the authors also, Able and Noble. These are the two, Able and Noble.
Able and Noble.
Noble. These are the two authors. They published a paper in the year 1948 itself, stating this fact. So Kalam never believed it. Kalam said, no, nothing. How can gunpowder behave like a sand? I said, behave like a sand.
Sand.
Yeah, because if you put a matchstick or you put an igniter, gunpowder will not ignite if the pressure is one fourth. He said, to prove it. You can't just like that take me for a ride. Then we made a makeshift arrangement, namely the bell jar, which you saw in the film. Made a vacuum pump, and the vacuum pump was pumping the air outside, bringing down the pressure to one fourth of an atmospheric pressure. Gunpowder was inside. We ignited, it didn't ignite. There's nothing for me to get surprised because that fellow will not otherwise publish the paper. So I did that experiment once, twice, 10 times. Nothing happened. So I told Kalam, it is positive, it won't ignite. Then he said, what will happen tomorrow when we launch that? I said, it won't ignite. Now what does it mean? It means you can't photograph. It's as you can't photograph. It will be a failure in the international thing. We will lose our face. I don't know whether you will lose your face or not. It cannot ignite. Because I am the man who developed the igniter, and now it is proved that it cannot work at that atmospheric pressure. Then Kalam said, only one more test in my presence you do it. I said, all right, come. So we showed him some 8 or 9 tests. He asked for only one. Then what happened? He was upset. Then as a small child, he was telling, last test you do it one. This time I wanted to go very close and then look at it myself. So he kept his nose to the bell jar and then was watching it. I also got fed up, I was taking very casually, I was looking around. Then some counting started 9, 10, 9. Somebody is going to fire. I looked at it, the vacuum pump is not connected. In the sense, the valve is kept open. In the sense that the pressure inside is atmospheric pressure, not the vacuum 1/4 thermal, which means it will burn, it will explode. That fellow is counting 6, 5. You must understand that within 4 seconds, if I say something to that fellow, he may fire immediately. Or if I say something to this Kalam, will not listen to me. He was so young. The only thing I could do was I jumped at Kalam, bringing him down to the floor. I fell on top of him, and that fellow was counting 0. The whole thing exploded. It went through above my head. That way we saved him actually. Otherwise, it would have been finished.
Wow. A lot of people tell me that though he made it for a very good president, as a scientist, he was not really together.
No, that is a personal matter. I wouldn't like to comment
All right,
on that.
we'll leave it
Yeah.
At that. I mean, in the scientific world, he had his own bunch of critics and very serious ones. Anyway, that's another story. Now, the second question that I have is with regard to your getting attached, or the means and methods you used for getting attached to this Princeton professor. Did you actually have to go cook in their house? Did you, or is that?
No, he was a old person. He didn't want to have any student. He was interested in living in peace. And actually speaking, I have mastered his autograph, which talks about the instability theorem. Many people understand the theorem. Many people only take the end result and they don't go how it is proved. So I understood how it is proved also. So I was particular to go and work under him. Now he is very adamant saying that no, I don't want anybody. That's the first day he replied. That was true. Then how do I get him? So I told him, look, Professor Coco, many people may not be knowing your theorem fully. I am the one who, I'm a big man. I have understood your theorem. In the meanwhile, before joining Princeton, I was in correspondence with him some 2-3 years, 67, 68 and all. I recall that you remember I wrote to you. He said, no, I don't remember. That is okay. I said that I am very much aware of this. I can derive the theorem for you. He said, okay, you may derive the theorem, so what? I am not interested. But suddenly it did have an impact on him in that sense. Then I told him that you don't need to come to the office because I'm troubling you by asking you to come to the office. You don't need to come. I will come here whenever I want to come. And I will give you minimum trouble. So many things I told him. These are all true. So finally that man came down. But as and when I keep going to his house for my project work, that old lady used to be like my mother or some kind of a sister. And she was also not doing well. And this man was mentally was little disturbed because of that. So I used to help him in his household things. I used to clean the vessels and I used to clean the house and all, which is, I didn't consider that as any bribery or any kind of thing. We developed a understanding with each other. That made our bonding a little more. I became more or less like one of the members of there. That extent I did. But this omelette and all is just Madhavan made that omelette. Actually, I made omelette for you. That's a different question.
But you already knew how to make the omelette.
I knew.
You didn't have to learn it. So you did some housework for them. It was not just adding spice.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it is housework. It is helping.
Or whatever, helping in the housework.
Helping, yeah.
Or in whatever.
But not every day. Whenever I go there, I don't go there to help him. I go there and then, he's sitting with me. It is normal. If supposing somebody is visiting your house, you are cooking for them, they will also come and help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was for real.
Yeah.
And then the entire French experience, where you all pretended to be dumb, that you didn't know French.
No, we
Uh,
thought if we make it known to them that we can understand French, they may not speak in your presence. This is one thing. But yes, it was true. It was true. We didn't show them that we understand French. But it was not possible to do that drama forever. For the first 1 year, we can do that. Second year, we can pretend that we were studying. But in fact, within 6 months, you can master the language without much of a difficulty.
hmm.
For example, even today, you give me a French technical report, I will read straight away in English.
You mastered it so well.
I'm saying technical report, not the.
Okay.
It's a technical report. It is easy. I don't know how to explain to you, but I can. I used to read technical reports in French. My mind absorbs only in English. So
Okay. Now, before we come to the Russian part, what I want to know is, where did you get this obsession? This, is it born out of patriotism, self-esteem? What dreams did you have for India when you were growing up? And in communist Kerala too. I mean, people aren't encouraged to think like you did.
no, no. I think your concept of communism in Kerala, I don't agree with you. Actually, in Kerala, the people are very pious. In fact, the temples, Hindu temples, are well kept only in Kerala, in the entire country, I would say that. So that is not true. So communism doesn't play a role in that. In fact, if the communists were trying to play a role in that non-belief of God, they will get it back. So they will never dare to do that. I mean, you know that I don't have to explain. So it is untrue to say that. But in Kerala, if you really look at it, the people are educated. Now they believe in certain principles. Nothing to do with going to temple and most of the temples in Padma Bhushan temple and Archagal Devi Kshetram. I used to visit those temples. I am a scientist, but I go to the temple regularly without fail. Whenever I am in Trivandrum, morning 5 o'clock, I will be there. So it's
Even today?
even today, only thing is after COVID, I didn't go. Even after the incident happened, I used to go there. Only time I didn't go regularly was during the COVID period. It is not that I didn't want to go. It is they stopped it. They didn't allow the people to get in. So we won't know whether they will allow it today, tomorrow. So I don't want to go every day and then make some kind of a. I also believe that it is necessary to adopt certain rules, which is preventing to stop the spreading of COVID. So why should I violate that rule and then do something of that? So in fact, if I would have gone there, they would have allowed me to go into the temple.
That's right. That's right. So, which is your own Ishtadev or your deity that you most connect with?
Now, beyond any doubt, I can say it is the Devi Shetram, which is Amme Bhagavati. We call it Bhagavati. So, in fact, in the movie, at times, many times, even today, when
Yes.
it's a casual, it comes Amme Bhagavati, it comes to your word. That is the Ishtadevam, and it is a reason for it. Uh, so you go there and as a child, as a small, you pray, and when that is taking place, then you start developing some kind of a faith in the temple. So that temple is even today, it is holding a record of what do you call Pongala. Pongala means the people come take the pot and then earthen pot and then put rice in that and then boil it and all. Yearly once during the month of March it will come. More than 10-15 lakhs of women will do this Pongala, and it is a Guinness World Record even today. So the entire city will be flooded with only ladies for 8 kilometers long and some 3-4 kilometers wide. No gentlemen will be allowed to go. I mean, you need to go with a pass and stuff like that. You see, these are all faith which comes only by yourself experiencing it. Nobody can teach you, nobody can explain to you how.
But uh, Madhavan tells me that a lot of these left liberals were very upset because he showed your character as a temple going a person with a tilak and all the rest. I mean, did the
I
film
don't
really
know.
face that kind of criticism?
I don't know what Madhavan said that, but there is a critic. Some lady critic was telling that the film is promoting the Hinduism, some kind of a thing. That is what that lady said.
Anupama.
Anupama Chopra or
Hmm.
somebody. But somebody asked me, how, what is your reaction to this?
Hmm.
So I simply said, I am a Hindu. The story is my story. Now I go to the temple and I do pujas at my home. And what else they will show? They have to show what I do, not somebody else,
Hmm.
something like that. But afterwards, I don't agree with if at all Madhavan has told this. I don't agree because it's not only my house. The entire people of how can Pongala like that can take place in a state
Hmm.
if communist, for that matter, even the communist ministers' wives they come and do this. If they can't stop their own wives, how do you think the other will happen?
Now, you say that Kerala people are educated, they're very enlightened, this, that, and the other. But the way they treated you, how do you
Why
explain that?
I don't find as a very energetic argument. I'll tell you. Why do you say the Kerala people did that? It is actually
Political parties.
police did that. Some 4 or 5 people did that. Now the media carried that message, and the educated people were buying that argument because it was coming in the newspapers. All the newspapers carried that. But please understand, after the CBI took over, when the whole case becomes normal, the same Kerala people is the one who are treating me very, very well. You think that that is not out of education?
No, once the tide turns in your favor, then to treat you well doesn't cost
It
much.
is not the tide is turning.
Hmm.
It is after they know the truth. See, you are misguiding them actually by telling them a wrong thing. It is a mass criteria. It's a every newspaper is telling that this has happened. They were, in fact, they were very much attached to the nation, and that is where they become agitated. That is otherwise, how can you explain a auto rickshaw asking us to get down from the?
Oh,
You see, that is where he is agitated. He thinks that you are a traitor.
but they're not treating real traitors of today like that, are they?
No, no, you have some views on this. My views are different.
Okay.
My views are I still hold Kerala people are educated. They are very reasonable. They themselves doing some communism is different from their faith in God and their faith in temples.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this very reasonable, well educated Kerala people produce such a heavily compromised press. All these very highly educated reporters and editors don't do elementary homework. They don't take your version seriously. They don't ask elementary questions about, the kind of questions that you raised through this film. How could these.
It is very, very easily explainable.
Hmm.
You see, the the police, some 3 or 4 people are responsible for this, or some IB fellows put together. Now they are, for reasons which are best known to them, spreading the news in so many ways. It has sex in it, and it has treason in it, and it has. Apart from all these things, they are saying that the nation's wealth is sold. This is what is triggering the Kerala people more. They are more worried about that part of it. They are more worried, and they hate such activities. But singular points you don't take it for your argument. There are people, bad people all over the world, all over in all the communities. Now, this is how it happened is one person whom they believed well, they think that he is a great police officer, or he is Satyasandam is a very straightforward police officer. Now that fellow is misguiding them, that fellow is telling them a lie. Now they are bound to believe it. They believed it in the beginning. they misbehaved it because of that. But I again repeat, it is very easy to do such a thing. Anybody will react like that. But coming back, when they come to know that this is untrue, this is not the truth at all, you know how they changed it en masse. In fact, they started hating the other police people. They were telling the wrong news and all. So I have a feeling, from my point of view, I still believe that this was fabricated by handful of policemen and IB put together.
Not politicians?
No, that is a different story. The politicians were party to that kind of a spreading of the news, because their aim was to bring down the Karnagaran and that then chief minister, and they want to instill their own chief minister. That is. See, this one you should understand. This entire story had lot of threats. One hand, you have a political tussle. Another hand, a police officer met with some kind of a threatening from that lady who was telling that I will complain to the IG. Then there is a third one, press fellow, journalist, one newspaper owner. He wanted to take revenge on another police officer. So he thought that this fellow I must teach him a lesson. See, you have not one, two, three, four, and there is one more police officer who thought that by doing this he will get the best name, and then he can remove somebody who was standing in his way of his promotion, because this fellow is younger. Like that, some three, four threads are there. Each one is well connected, and I became the victim of it. They didn't bother who is the victim.
But they all knew you were innocent.
I don't see the people who fabricated it
Huh.
knew that they are.
That's what I mean.
Absolutely. See, the very fact that they fabricated shows they are aware of the fact. I can tell you very simple. They arrested me on 30th November. Normally, for such a case, when they arrest, don't you think they have to raid my house, raid my office, minimum? They didn't do it. Now, they arrested me on 30th November. They hand me over to the police also on the 30th November. Don't you think they will have to wait or leave it to CBI to? So, very simple. They knew it. The point is, this is where my suspicion goes more. I think that these people knew that I am innocent. Not only that I am innocent, they are doing this as an order, this as a part of the conspiracy.
So, are you suggesting that the powers that are hostile to India's space program got hold of these easy to manipulate police officers without political involvement?
No, it is difficult to answer that question.
Yeah.
There are three, four links are there. Which one overtakes what?
Yeah.
We don't know.
So one day maybe the story will
Very
come out.
soon it will be known. Actually, I have an inkling of who is the person behind it. I don't intend to tell it to you because of the other reason, but at the same time, this is provable. This can be proved by the finality. Now the case is in the final stage.
Now, what about the scientists who were implicated like you but never fought back?
Yeah, only one more scientist,
Huh.
myself and Sashi Kumar.
Yeah.
The other two people were not scientists, but one man was a coordinator between the Glass Cosmos Russian company and the Indian ISRO. Another fellow was running a steel factory, re-rolling mill. So we both, myself and Sashi, belong to the cryogenic group. Now Sashi told very clearly that he doesn't believe in fighting this case back, because he said it will take your life totally. 15, 20 years it will take. I don't want to waste my time in fighting this case. Instead, let me do something which will be useful, which will be productive, so that I go back to, I have to live. So, and he even advised me that why are you wasting your time? But it's up to you. But I stood firmly saying that I can't afford to leave this case easily, because I have to find out the truth. Why I said was that is the only thing which will prove my innocence. Beyond doubt, it will prove that I am innocent. If I get hold of another fellow who has done the crime, then myself becoming innocent, my innocence is very easily proved. But I also never thought it will take 27 years. I thought it will take maybe 5 years or 7 years, something like that. But the total thing, it has taken 27 years. And
That's right.
yes,
Hard to believe,
that is our
but
system. That is our system.
that is our system, and it's not anywhere on the road to improving, unfortunately. Now, about your family, one of the most heartrending scenes in the film
Yeah.
was when you come home and how the state you find your wife in.
Yeah, actually, she was under a terrible shock because my family is very simple family. It's not a very
Yeah.
complicated family. So they all believe me, and they are always supporting me and all. And they have never heard of such a thing from me. Maximum what they can say is, I keep spending more time on my rocketry rather than taking care of them, which is true. So she was mentally affected. Her mental balance got into problem. But then we treated her, and took about some 3 4 years before she came to near normal. Now she is absolutely normal, and she has. She was even joking, saying that last time. But she doesn't remember those things what happened during that time. Her condition, she doesn't very well remember those. But it is okay. She is now very normal. She is very behaving normally.
And your children haven't yet recovered because you
No,
said your son hasn't seen the film.
they never went out of balance. They were certainly affected. You see, 21-year-old my son and 20-year-old my daughter. They both, for them, it is the rudest shock you can think of the whole thing. See, the problem is you are isolated. You can't go out. You can't talk to friends. Your friends all will run away, and you can't even go to the temple. So this is the situation. That is to begin with. But then they became also determined, like me, that we should prove this is. Unfortunately, it has come on our head, so we have to prove our innocence. So we work together.
To me, one of the most shocking scenes, or very disturbing scenes, was your daughter walking that very day when this comes out in the papers, and they throw muck on her face.
Cow dung.
Cow dung.
Yeah.
Huh? It happened?
Yeah. You see, they're small crimes. Somebody will throw mud. Even if you don't do any crime, they can throw mud and run away, or they can snatch your bag and run away. So many things. You see, here is a situation where the community thinks that you are a traitor, or they are made to believe that you are a traitor. So anybody can do anything. So I honestly don't get any angry about those people. Honestly, I'll tell you why. Because supposing if the story is about somebody else, I don't know how I would have behaved. I am a fellow who has a lot of attachment to my country. I may also behave probably. I don't know. So point I am making is it all depends on how much you are made to believe the other thing. See, if somebody has planned, now it looks to me that the whole thing is fabricated, and somebody had some view on it, somebody had an aim on it, etc.
With regard to the media, because media played a big role in demonizing you, you think they were all manipulated or some were partners in the crime? Some leading ones?
Possible they were partners in the crime, or they had some acts to grind. For example, if you take one of the leading newspaper, they were very much after begging one of the man as the chief minister. So they were playing in the hands of the people. In another case, a particular newspaper owner wanted to take revenge on somebody else, so he used it. Now, how do you say? Is it a partnership or is it? See, everybody had an axe to grind. That is what I. Then one more fellow who is an innocent fellow, he's seeing those two papers are playing game. These fellow sales are going down. So he thought, why should I keep quiet? I also should join the back. So he told me, sir, we never wanted to write anything but we have no choice because our sales are going down. So we wanted to keep the sales up.
Have any of them apologized to you?
Most of them apologized, excepting one or two. But all other people came and apologized. But I would call it as I take it for granted because they told me in a convincing manner how they were misguided, how they were made. One fellow comes and tells me, "Sir, I don't know about rockets. I don't know anything about satellites." Now somebody tells me, which is very interesting, the story is running, and my boss is happy about. So I wrote it. And in fact, some people have got some text, common text. They divide among themselves and then write the story.
Yeah, it's good to see that you're able to laugh about it today.
Today, yeah.
Because in 2013, there was no laughter, there was no smile, there was grim determination. I mean, even that time you were very strong. But you know, the part that puzzled, not puzzled, that made me very curious about knowing whether you were the kind of uh, when I met you, obviously one could not see a trace of humor or laughter or naughtiness. But in the film, you do a lot of naughty things. You know?
No, naughty things till till up to a point of time.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I became very serious.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But were you actually the naughty
Yeah,
type?
actually, I am not naughty. I wouldn't call it as naughty.
I couldn't find the correct word.
Yeah, actually, I like jokes. I play practical jokes sometimes.
Huh.
For example, calling a fellow in the midnight and then try to tell him, or for example, the one which I liked is I finish my reading before the exam starts. Then afterwards, I throw all my books. I don't look at it at all till all the exams are over. Then my only job which I enjoy is go to somebody who will be reading very seriously and sit with him and then say, okay, this seems to be a very possible question, but make it a little more complicated.
Okay.
And seeing him going mad, some it is unfair, I feel, but at that time it was immaturity and you were still a adolescent that way.
But you never needed to study on the eve of the exam. You just
No, that is not my habit.
Oh.
For example, if the exam starts on a Monday, till Saturday, I would read the whole thing. Starting on Monday, it will go for a week or 10 days. But all the 10 days put together, I stopped reading. Even next day, Monday evening, I come back and then never look at my Tuesday exam.
Oh. Is it because you have a photogenic memory?
My memory is good. I am not saying no. But it's not only the memory. The difference is, according to me, I understand and then study. So it is difficult to forget it. It's not memory power which matters. Supposing if you understand the whole thing, you can't forget it. Forgetting never comes in the picture. But if you mug it up, then you.
No, I don't mean mug it up. I mean, like, for example, I have a memory of a cretin. What I wrote yesterday, I won't remember today. I just have a bad memory. I won't remember.
Which subject?
Whichever subject.
No, there's a difference.
Sciences.
Supposing if I am talking about mathematics.
Mathematics you
I
can't.
can never forget.
It's like swimming.
Yes.
You can't
No,
forget
even
swimming.
history, supposing if you are a dull subject, you link it always to, for example, Second World War. When did Hitler die? 1945, May 4th. How do I remember? Because I link that dates to the event. It is difficult to forget if you read like that. So I think it is a style of learning. That's all. I like it, and I was successful. And not 1 year, I was doing it for all the years.
No, also your track record as a scientist
Yeah.
shows that you had a good grasp of your
No,
subject.
fundamentals, you learn the fundamentals properly, then you will.
And who taught you the fundamentals so well?
No, I have developed a habit of without understanding, I will not learn. If I do not understand, I have two options. I don't understand that. I will try to understand it. I'll go talk, dig Now, even at the end of it, I don't understand. Then I leave the damn thing once and for all. I don't look at it at all. Because I don't understand what's the fun in learning that.
But for exam, you have to
I don't
learn.
care. If any questions comes there, I don't care. It's the answer I'm telling you. I don't care. For example, who should I see? I want to learn. I am learning. It is not I am mucking up or something like that. If I mean learning, I mean learning.
Did you have very good teachers in school, college?
Not all the subjects, but majority of them schools were very good teachers.
You had good teachers.
Yeah, at that time the teachers were different from the today's teachers.
Yeah, trade unionism among teachers has
No.
messed
There's
up.
no question of tuition and all. That's not.
No, I said trade unionism
Yeah, no,
among
no.
teachers
No,
has
no.
ruined
No,
education in
Yeah.
a way.
there's no such thing.
No such thing. So you had reasonably good teachers, but most
Some
of
of
it
them
is
are very,
self-taught.
some of them are very good, not reasonably good. Some of them are my mathematics teacher, applied mechanics, theory of machines, almost all the subjects, very good teachers. Very good teachers. They will not leave you if you don't understand it. In fact, I had one professor who very hardworking, and if you don't understand, he will start from the beginning once again. He will. You say that, sir, that part of it. No.
You remember his name?
P.L. Mayappan.
Mayappan.
Yes. I can't easily forget it, those people's name. But I feel I am obliged to remember their names. Most of the teachers, my teachers, I remember their name.
Now, coming to the other half, which is you come back and then you, in the film, you go back to that lab after a while and you see that it's kind of, it's in a mess, cobwebs and everything, nobody's opening. And then you get it restarted. And then your son-in-law is the one who takes over from where you left. Am I right?
No, actually, my son-in-law was the one who was working on the Mars mission.
Yeah,
So he is the one who was the architect of the whole thing.
yeah.
So Madhavan wanted to introduce him into the picture as so and so son-in-law. Did that. So he took the true part of it, then he put him there. It's not my son-in-law didn't take from where I left. Mine is propulsion, mine is one route. He is actually using this and then taking the Mars
Mars
mission.
mission.
Yes. And that was one of the very bright ideas he had. It was fantastic ideas. The most important part is the route by which you go to Mars. That is his own idea. His own idea in the sense he is very bright.
Yeah. And that's the mission that Modi ji has often boasted about.
Yeah, Modi gave him Padma Shri for that.
Padma Shri for that. That's too small an award.
No, he's
Padma
very
Shri.
young at that time.
So what? The mission accomplishment is huge.
But we have set rules. You don't give straight away something. You keep Padma Shri and then Padma Bhushan, Padma Bhushan, like that it goes.
Okay. Now, did he get married to your daughter before this happened or after?
Yeah, she got married before this happened, and my daughter they both had a child by the time this is happening. In fact, the child's first birthday is what is.
Oh yes, which
Yeah.
was to be the
Yeah.
party in the temple.
Yes.
Celebration.
So, and that girl now has become a doctor.
That little girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 27 years since. But did it affect his career for a while adversely in ISRO?
No, they were mentally not affected, but they were not happy. See, losing your happiness is something very bad.
No, I mean within the ISRO establishment.
No. It did
No?
affect you. For that matter, even I would, after this is over, who in ISRO told me that I should not work there? I had put in my own condition to me, stating that I can't have a commanding position having got into this kind of a mess. So I thought the project will suffer. So I don't want to be there. That's why I chose a desk job. It is not they thrust it upon me. No.
Okay, so when you went back to ISRO in a desk job, they let you be. They were not hostile, or were they?
They most of them were treating me well. They were, I don't know whether they felt guilty or they felt bad, sad, whatever it is. But I was myself isolating. Honestly, like this, I don't know whether you will understand it. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't care who you are, and I will come. I will do my job, and then I nobody should dictate terms to me, something like that. And if you are in a very higher level position, and then see the whole thing is everybody was. I would say that they were feeling guilty or they were not happy or some mixed feelings. After some time, some 1 or 2 years afterwards, when somebody wants to come and then say, no, why are you like this? Why don't you do something? I said, at that time, I was fighting only my case and then the other aspect of it. But as time went by, I was becoming more and more, shall I say, mature. I took it like that. I tried to compromise things.
And the legal preparation for the case, was most of it your job? All the
I
documentation?
would imagine that. Yes, I think so. It was mostly my job because right from the beginning, this case cannot be treated as a police complaint case. It was my own finding,
Mm.
and also it requires appropriate government's approval. My own finding, and the appropriate government is Government of India. My own finding, but left it to them if they would have also found out after some time. But I am the affected party, so I just started looking at the Official Secrets Act threadbare, what it is. The most interesting part or the idiotic part is this is an act which was passed in 1923
Yeah.
for the Europeans to prevent the Indians from doing such a thing. So the same act even now we are continuing.
Yeah, even today you can't take a photograph at the airport. I mean, it makes no sense because satellite image is giving you
They will give you a better picture.
better picture. But they still have that rule,
I
right?
don't think so. I don't know. They are
Yeah,
not,
yeah. Just about 2, 3 years ago, I was taking a photograph of something and I was told this is not allowed. Whether it stays on paper or doesn't, but the mindset still
yeah, it is
stays
there.
the same. So, what was the starting of the turning point, which is that wedding at which you got that was the day actually
I got the court order in
court
my
order
favor.
in
Yeah,
your favor.
yeah. Supreme Court order.
Yeah. So that was the turning point, would you say?
No, even before that, within 1.5 years, when the CJM court released it by saying that this is a fabricated case. It is not that they didn't simply threw it away. They said that it is a false case. From that time onwards, it was even before that. I would say even before the judgment came. See, this is something like a smoke screen these people created. Afterwards, in no time, the whole thing came to limelight without any investigation or anything. But when the first judgment came, CJM court, they all became normal. I didn't have any problem in the society per se. Nowhere a problem in the temple, whatever you are saying that. Yeah.
You had it in the earlier phase
Yes,
when
yes.
everybody was led to believe,
Yes.
but once the court order came, CJM,
Yes.
etc., things started easing up.
Yeah.
But for you personally, the real turnaround against Supreme Court?
Again, the Supreme Court, first judgment of the Supreme Court. There again, they have quashed the government of Kerala's further investigation order. That is a very big turning point. Practically, the case is over with that. But what I did was, I don't want to leave these people. I want them to be punished. So I went there. The remaining part is only to punish them. The whole thing.
And you persevering with that, and you see light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, it came. See, bad. See, I'll tell you. As I told you, I learned law to this extent. For me, it was very clear. They should be. My desire is they should be punished. But whether they can be punished by law, I found out it is true. They can be punished. So I didn't want to leave it like that. It was my conviction that they can be punished. So why keep quiet on that?
And now the regime is not interested in protecting them, at least, not going out of its way
Yeah.
to.
No, even see, these are all temperamental things. I personally believe nobody is. I'm not philosophical, but I'm telling you, what they did to me was cruel. I don't think that human beings are that cruel. It is only one or two people for something they are becoming cruel. Otherwise, I don't think that they are that cruel. I don't know whether you agree with me.
No, I agree with you. By and large, people would like to do good if they can, provided they don't suffer too much on its account.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, what happened to the project that was left unfinished?
Actually, I didn't bother to look at it for one reason that it was not anymore my baby. And it is my usual style that I don't put my nose into somebody else's project. I think they took their own time. And originally it was supposed to be there by 2000, 2001. But I think by the time it came, it was 2014. Uh, that's it. So,
So, we are back on track. Have we caught
no,
up?
what was originally supposed to come in the year 2000 or 2001 came into existence in 2014.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't mean back on the track. Supposing if you were there in the 2001 itself, then 2014 would have been something different.
Oh.
Back on track means it's not.
You want it to be ahead of global competition, and this pushed India back by at least 1.5, 2 decades.
Yes, actually, I wanted to make the funding for ISRO self-generating.
Hmm.
That is, they should generate their own fund, not dependent upon the taxpayers' fund.
Hmm.
That was possible, provided you launch your own satellites and make money out of it.
Yeah,
That was possible only with the cryogenic system.
yeah.
But cryogenic system was not there, so you couldn't compete with the international market.
What about 2014?
2014, by the time the prices of others have become equal or better,
Oh,
because that 14 years lead time, you can do wonders. See, you really, time is the whole crust of the problem.
is the essence.
See, their original capability was 5 tons or 4 tons. By 14 years time frame, their original 5-ton capability now become 11 ton, 14, 12 tons. So it is, you can't compare it.
Hmm. True. True. But in Mars mission, we showed them that.
Mars mission is something like, it is not in the documents or it's not a planned mission in that sense. Mars mission normally would have been done with a cryogenic system with a higher capability. But we didn't have the cryogenic system and we didn't want to keep quiet. Why not we try how do we go with that? Meaning what? The payload will be diminished in size. It will be 15 kg. Very, very small payload. No meaningful payload. But we didn't bother about the payload. We wanted to go there, wanted to check whether this is okay. And we could do that with a simple launch vehicle.
And the one that failed, why did that fail? When the
Which
PM
one?
was there,
That
the
is
moon mission.
That's a moon mission.
Moon mission.
There was a control problem that's supposed to land there,
Huh.
that lunar module, and there was a stability problem. Stability in the sense it crash landed.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But if you could go to the Mars, which is far harder, why did it crash land on the moon?
No, it
Was
is
it
not.
just
Mars mission is more tough. Moon's mission is easy. It is not that way too.
okay?
You are going into another planet. Now you should have studied the entire environment. Then you should you should design a mechanism which will safely land you there. Whether it is landing on Mars, whether it is landing on moons, or whether it is landing on Venus for that matter. Basically, the mechanism is going to be the same. Now, this mechanism had a flaw, which we realized later. So, by the time it crash landed.
Okay. My last question to you is not to do with science. It's to do with other concerns. All these missions to Mars and Moon and all that. Now, human beings have already messed up this Earth, made it unlivable. And when we go to the Moon or to any other planet, what do we leave there? Garbage. All kinds of garbage. Why do we want? We don't know how to manage the Earth. Why are we so keen to understand those planets? I can, I'm in favor of, but to set up colonies there, to
No, it is not stopping with Moon or Mars. The idea was
hmm,
we believe that there is some other living material elsewhere.
fine.
Now, we don't know where that elsewhere is, but it is there, is the belief.
So we want to know that.
Now, we want to know. We can't go with one stretch. So, we want to have some middle level stopping points. Like Moon, we can use it as a intermediate station. Mars, we can use it another intermediate station. So, this is a step by step approach. Unless you do something on that, you can't do anything. So that is all the thing. Now your idea.
People are talking about setting up colonies there, buying, little pieces
No,
of.
colonies and all are making it livable. Supposing if you are planning, it is not permanently you are going to live there. Supposing even if you want to work towards upwards,
Okay.
and you want to live there for about 3 months, 4 months, you need to have certain paraphernalia. So that is what they are planning to do.
So what you're aiming at is that if there is another planet like Mother Earth with a vibrant civilization, we should be in touch with them.
I don't know whether to call it a civilization or not. We are hoping that there will be certain things which will be similar to mankind, human being. It could be not necessarily on your shape or your. We want to see that. We want to see how it is. That's all.
So long as we don't leave garbage on the moon, it bothers me a lot. There's so much romance attached to the moon.
No.
And you
No,
go
that is
and
because
leave,
that is because
that's
you.
all that human beings do. Go
No.
leave their shit there.
For that matter, you have garbage all over the space. So many dead bodies are roaming around the earth. You know that?
Why?
Why? Because some astronaut went there and then died, and his body is still
Still
coming,
revolving, yeah.
So don't worry about it.
I shouldn't worry about the garbage on the moon. It disturbs me deeply because I want our relationship to our planets. The Hindu imagination connects to these planets in a very different way than just another piece of real estate.
Yeah, it's there, but see.
I mean, we worship the sun, we worship the moon. These are our deities.
No, this is a subject which is totally different from what we discussed so far.
I know.
So
I know that's why I said it's totally different. Nothing to do with your scientific missions and quest. It's just that I fear human beings' potential to mess up wherever they go and leave a very ugly footprint, like what we've done on planet Earth. It's not a pleasant experience witnessing
I think leave it to the
to Mother
future,
Nature.
yeah, Mother Nature, and then let us see how it happens. But I can tell you, not in the immediate future. You don't have to bother that the moon will be full of littering.
Okay, I hope so. Not in my lifetime. And then by the time it actually happens, maybe people have found a way
Yeah,
of. But I wish they would first manage the garbage on Earth a little better.
yeah.
We dirtied our oceans, we dirtied our rivers, the air is poisonous. Anyway, all of that. That for another day. So, anything you would like to say in conclusion to our viewers?
Nothing special. You have almost covered all the areas, so it's fine.
But the film is facing a lot of obstructions. Cinema halls are not displaying posters. They are
Now it's all gone. Now there is no point in talking about it because it's already 6 or 7 weeks. Now they won't run the film anymore. One more, maybe one or two shows will be there. I don't know. It's okay, but the film has done its best in the sense it has very good reviews. I don't find any bad review about the movie.
It is truly one of the best. Why? I would say the best, viewers. A film like this has never been made before. It's really, firstly, it's sincere, it's honest, made from the heart, but with a very astute head behind it. It's not soppy and sentimental, one bit. And It's technically very suave. That too is a delight to watch. A disturbing film, but also a very, very inspiring and a very elevating film. And the reason is the hero of that film here.
Thank you.
And it's been a pleasure watching that film. It's been a pleasure knowing you. And I hope you manage to get the villains punished, because I know some of them, they're evil people. And I think we should make sure, by creating enough pressure on the agencies that are handling this or on the government, that this we shouldn't lose track of punishing the guilty, so that such sinister acts are not repeated again. धन्यवाद viewers. Are there any?
Thank you.
Wait. If there's any super chat, कुछ है? I think they're just lost in
so
the
many
gripping.
comments.
Yeah, plenty of comments, but there's no questions today. So we take them only if they are part of the super chat, which
Okay.
is otherwise how do I decide?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure this will be watched. It'll have a long shelf life, this interview of yours. अच्छा viewers जी, शुभ रात्रि, वंदे मातरम, और ये फिल्म जरूर देखिए जहां भी बची हुई है, लेकिन और कुछ नहीं तो प्राइवेट शोज करवाइए. It's really worth watching, and it's worth not only watching but learning a lot from. शुभ रात्रि और वंदे मातरम.
So thank you. I enjoyed the discussions totally. So hope we will meet another time.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Okay.